I think their accomplishments are many, but really it's that bridge. Is that they provide a bridge for everyday Americans to make contact with Cubans and to recognize one another's humanity.
Desde que existe el mundo hay una cosa cierta. Unos hacen los muros y otros hacen las puertas. Pero eso
what does the CDA stand for? We listen, learn, and lead. And we do this by hosting travel to Cuba, Venezuela, Ecuador, Honduras, El Salvador, and Chile. We do this by enabling dozens of delegations, often bipartisan, to hear the aspirations of everyday people and political actors across the region and to learn their views of U.S. policy.
I've been on delegations, on congressional delegations, and I've been out with a lot of groups. But I think that the most important thing that CDA does is that it goes as much to listen as to talk about what the policymakers that they're with are going to say. And they have the right questions when they go. You know, they're talking about how we really change policies and how we bring the Americas together.
Our policy towards Cuba, America's policy on a bipartisan basis, has been dysfunctional. It doesn't work. It hurts us in the hemisphere. It's against America's business interests. It violates our people-to-people ties that we've had with this country for generations.
I'm a farmer. I'm an agriculturalist. I support agriculture. I support trade and jobs. And if we can do business with Cuba, it'll work both ways. It'll be trade and jobs for the United States. It'll be opportunities for the Cubans to get food, which they need right now, at a more reasonable price. They're importing food halfway around the world, and we are 90 miles away. It doesn't make any sense at all. Our most irrational foreign policy has to be nearly 50 years that we have tried to isolate Cuba, to strong-arm Cuba into throwing communism overboard for democracy. Democratic presidents as well as Republican presidents have restricted trade, restricted contact, no exchanges, no talks. The average American can't even go to Cuba.
I'm very happy it's the first time I've been able to bring my whole band to Washington.
Viajar con músicos cubanos de la isla a los Estados Unidos.
And to traveling with musicians from Cuba, from our island, in the United States.
No solo es darle la oportunidad de que conozcan un gran país con una gran historia.
Is not only giving them the opportunity to get to know a wonderful country with an enormous history.
Que conozcan a grandes músicos y colegas como Jackson.
And to get to know wonderful friends and musicians such as Jackson.
También es la oportunidad, a través de mi música, de que se reencuentren con su propia familia que hace años no ven.
But it's also the opportunity that through the music, through my music, they re-encounter their huge and extended family.
I think that one of the really important things that Sarah and CDA does is that they work with people, with policymakers, artists, people on the street that become bridge people. They make them bridge people. They're able to take the person like Carlos Varela that we just heard this evening, that has a very singular view of what's happening in his country and a real love for his country, and introduces them to people like Jan Schakowsky, who is a person that really does understand Carlos. And in that relationship that built, they build the dynamics of real change.
Ojalá que algún día se acabe el embargo del gobierno de los Estados Unidos contra.
I think that they are in the center of the fight. They're here in Washington, and they connect policymakers with real people. I think so many policy decisions, unfortunately, are relegated to concentric rings of power that take the decision makers farther and farther away from the real people. So what they really accomplish is a real contact with real people and the real situation.
Para el programa y su grupo, directo de Havana.